Base is dropped, and I knew I forgot to do something. Man, there we go. Base is dropped, and a new round of soccer down here. John here, you there. Jarrett should be popping in just a little bit because we are at the intermission and getting ready for the second half of Germany and Japan. That is going on right now. I'm going to continue to back up so my head doesn't get cut off by the shot. And so if you missed it yesterday, you had we had Nico Moreno on, and we did a special Thursdays with Nico on a Tuesday. And I would recommend that you guys go back, and if you missed that conversation with Nico Moreno, who broke down pretty much everything about Garth Lagerwey, personally, professionally, it was a great conversation. I was glad that we could catch Nico on short notice and have our conversation with him about Garth Lagerwey. And we've got stuff going on with international teams. We've got stuff going on with the tournament going on right now. We have stuff going on in Major League Soccer because we have we're in those in-between times of waivers and re-entry and things like that. And there have been some signings, and there was a signing apparently, allegedly, probably, maybe by Atlanta United. And we'll get into that. So there's a lot to talk about this morning. So let me go through quickly the other news of the day, because once again, this is a Wall Pass Wednesday. So anything on your mind, go ahead and fire away. And morning, Sean. So anything on your mind, once again, Wall Pass Wednesday, we'll go through it. Anticipating Dylan Butler to hop on for his weekly visit at 10 o'clock. We'll find out what Thanksgiving's like at the Butler household and see what's going on there. But, yeah, once again, recommended to go back onto the app and onto the network and listen to the conversation that we had yesterday with Nico Moreno about Garth Lagerwey. Home run hire, and a lot of folks were really jazzed about it, especially, here in the Atlanta United footprint. And so, Jarrett, good morning.
Good morning.
Nothing went on yesterday and nothing has gone on this morning. So it's going to be a boring show.
Yeah, I figured. A shout out to basically every club in the world for deciding to drop news during this World Cup.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody. Good
Yes.
teamwork.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday, let's see if we can piece it all together. Yesterday, Memphis 901 signed Stephen Glass. Atlanta United probably, allegedly, possibly, maybe had a signing. It looks like Germany is taking legal action against FIFA for their stance, and then the team this morning decided to cover their mouths for the team photo. Belgium was asked to remove the word love from their white kits, so they're going to wear their red kits and then figure it out later. CR37 had his contract terminated. Manchester United looks like they're going up for sale. Garth Lagerwey was hired by Atlanta United. Did I miss anything?
No. Don't think. Well, the World Cup happened.
Well, that too, yeah, obviously.
That continued to happen. We introduced the world to some pretty fun 0-0 draws so far in this World Cup. Some not so fun, but you've had a couple that have been fun.
True.
Then Australia had hope, which is the most dangerous thing.
Yes. Nothing like a 1-0 lead against France and then not having the match finish that way. It was and shout out to Olivier Giroux, and we on the end of days review preview show discussing what's going on in the international tournament. Played that moment of history where he's now tied with Thierry Henry for most goals in a Les Bleus kit at 51. And big numbers for them yesterday with their victory. Morocco and Croatia early this morning had a goalless draw. Germany right now in the 50th minute leading Japan by the score of 1-0. And I know that you and Jason have been going back and forth on that one. Yesterday, Saudi Arabia beats Argentina 2-1. Denmark, Tunisia goalless. Mexico, Poland goalless. So Lewandowski v. Memo Ochoa, and Memo Ochoa comes out on top. And to have Andres Cantor call that and Saudi Arabia So it was a full day there, and France beats Australia by the score of 4-1.
Oh, also, Ricky's right. Not only was Ronaldo cut by Manchester United, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
He was he was given he was designated for assignment. He was outrighted to AAA, and he refused assignment.
Yes.
Let's make this as painful as we can for Mr. Ronaldo. Aside from that, Japan is attempting to attack. Aside from that, he is also handed a 2-match ban. So anyone who signs him in the FA, he would have to serve a 2-match ban before he could play.
Yeah. So thanks for dropping by. And so CR37 got suspended by the FA as well. So full morning. And, since I haven't had the chance to catch up with you about the signing of Garth Lagerwey, and I know that Ricky is excited about the signing of Garth Lagerwey, addressing the name in all caps. So Garth Lagerwey now, president and CEO of Atlanta United. Jarrett, what do you think?
I think it's the move that everybody was hoping for, and it's the move he got. It is. If you wanted an executive in MLS, this was the one to get. He has he's been at 2 stops and he's won titles at both of them. He's been insanely impressive.
Mm-hmm.
He also just helped build a team that proceeded to win CONCACAF Champions League, first MLS team to do it in this format. Seattle's going to go to the Club World Cup. This is the nice thing about what you have in terms of the finances, where it's money isn't really an object, which isn't something that every team can say, good or bad.
Yeah.
But when you get a situation like that where it's that guy is a free agent, so to speak, okay, let's go get him. Okay, well, Seattle put an offer for him, according, I think Jeremiah Shaw said that Seattle put an offer for him, and this came together pretty quickly. That it seems like Atlanta went, that's nice that you have an offer. Here's a bigger one.
Well, and also you're not the way that things are with the general meeting every year. Garth Lagerwey is put up for a yearly vote for renewal.
And there was a lot of confusion about this because him being approved by the board in Seattle didn't automatically mean that he was, the guy.
Yeah.
Him being approved or voted on didn't automatically mean that his contract automatically kicked in. They're the ones that get to make that approval.
Yes.
And he had their approval. They still had to come to the terms on a deal. Weren't able to do that, and now what you end up with is Garth Lagerwey's in Atlanta. And so here's the thing: discussing it at the risk of making it like a referendum on someone's legacy.
Right.
If he comes to Atlanta and he wins a title, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, let's go full LeBron with it. If he comes to Atlanta and wins, then you're talking about an insane amount of building the legacy even more.
Mm-hmm.
There is something to be said for, and it's different. People want different things. Like for instance, when Almeida took the job at San Jose, he traditionally takes smaller gigs.
Yeah.
Works with less resources and gets more out of them than he should. Garth Lagerwey now has been given an insane amount of money. He has been given a lot of resources to build as big of a juggernaut as he can. I am very interested to see not just what it looks like in 3 months leading into next season, because let's be realistic here. Players are still under contract. You're in the middle of a World Cup. It's going to be tough to get a bunch of stuff done, I think, right now. But in 2-3 years' time, I am very intrigued in what this looks like.
Yeah, and the point that Nico Moreno made yesterday is that about Garth Lagerwey is that he's not afraid to wear the black hat. He's not afraid to make the decisions that he feels need to be made, whether it's personnel, financial, what have you, to make sure that a team in a salary cap structure can have the team that will win a championship. I mean, here's a guy who, and this was the most recent example because, we were going through the ideas of, okay, what has Garth Lagerwey been able to do in that Seattle construct? Last year, he dropped Albert Rusnak into that lineup. He found a way to make Albert Rusnak happen for Seattle. And when you have someone who is that adept at understanding the landscape, and obviously with what he did at RSL and what he's been able to be a part of the build with Seattle, you sit there and it's like, okay, what do I need? And because of the pedigree of Seattle, you can go and sit there and it's like, all right, I want to go after Albert Rusnak. You get Albert Rusnak, you bring him in. That's the kind of work and the work rate that Garth Lagerwey brings to the table when it comes to building a franchise. It's like, all right, what do I need? I need a guy like this. Okay, instead of a guy like this, how about I get the guy? That's what you're doing. But once again, Nico said, look, if it comes down to someone that he feels is might be a little too high salary and rate of return isn't there, he's not afraid to pull that trigger. So you're getting that kind of an individual who understands the league, understands the cap, understands the construct, understands your constrictions and your restrictions, and will make things work within the framework of Major League Soccer. But he's not afraid to do the deal to where you bring in a heavyweight guy that you think is going to put you over the top. This is going to be It's going to be interesting to watch the build. And he's also not afraid to sit there and do pub diplomacy either, according to Nico. It's like, you want to pull him aside and you want to ask him some stuff, he'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. So it's like you're hitting all of the right notes in bringing in a new president and CEO here.
Yeah, and you went big for it. You went and got the big guy who you thought could, again, he's built monsters. He's built winners everywhere. And now you're in a situation where, again, you're handing him a lot of resources to build something big. And yeah, it's a multi-year project that you're talking about building. You don't build these sorts of things overnight. Maybe you have success next year. Don't get me wrong, but I do want to see what it looks like in a couple of years. And the public diplomacy part is going to be an important part of it because of the way this club has just operated in the past. I mean, it's hard to replace the gregariousness of a person like Darren Eales.
Yeah,
he was so out in front, and he was very comfortable doing that. It's hard to replace that. I am interested to see, how they're able to do it, and how Garth Lagerwey interacts in the public, because I think it would be very unfair to ask any general manager to come in and be exactly like Darren Eales, because that was Darren's personality, versus someone else might not have that personality.
Right.
Different people have different personalities. As we know throughout our experiences in life, it's tough to pin that onto public figures of, hey, this guy was like that, so we want you to be like that. Well, might not be what they're comfortable with, but I do want to see. I think it will be different, but I still think, yeah, he'll be involved, and he'll be out communicating with the community and all that jazz. It just might be different, and that's okay. I hope we don't expect it to be exactly like Darren Eales, because they're humans, not robots.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Darren is, as you are fond of saying, Darren is a unicorn. I think.
Yes.
I think that's a safe assessment to say that front office guys like Darren Eales are unicorns.
And Emilio, they don't. The season ticket members don't decide the contract. They just get to approve the general manager in Seattle.
No. Right.
They get a say in, like, is he doing a good job?
Yeah.
But they don't get to negotiate his contract. It's two different things.
Yeah, and the way that it worked is that at that general meeting, traditionally you want to have, I want to say, if my memory is correct, you want to have 40% of the season ticket members available for the vote. They didn't make that quorum, but with the members that were there that were a part of the vote, Garth Lagerwey got 90% of the vote. So he was overwhelmingly renewed. But the idea that you're sitting there, and I'm trying to remember the phraseology from the Seattle papers. It was amicable discussions, I believe was how it was phrased, in trying to get a new contract done. And the anticipation was in the Seattle papers and the Seattle media that something was going to happen, say, in the next couple of weeks. But from Jared, I think this also came from Jeremiah O'Shan, that this with Garth Lagerwey and Atlanta United happened very quickly. This happened initial contact was on Friday. Business picked up, and by the weekend being over, it was pretty much figured out that, okay, Garth Lagerwey, who was in amicable discussions with Seattle, was going to not be with the Seattle Sounders and work his way over to Atlanta to be president and CEO. So it happened very quickly. But once again, when you see something as a front office or as an administration, and you see that guy, you see that individual that you want to jump on, the fact that it was Steve Cannon and the search firm, they jumped on this opportunity, and they were like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And you sit there and plow through, and you jump on the idea of getting Garth Lagerwey. Okay, what do you need? What do you want? Let's figure out what you want to do. You're president and CEO. There's no yearly review. You have, I believe, I think it's safe to say that you have an increase in your power structure and your responsibilities with Atlanta United, and you end up with Garth Lagerwey. And Sean, with one of the interesting things, and this is probably the $32,000 question. Wonder what the first few moves he makes are. Lots of fan favorites to decide on. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's going to be, once again, this was the other thing, Jarrett, that I thought that Nico said was really interesting, is that Garth Lagerwey is looking 3 years down the line. He's not looking at this year. While he is operating in the present tense, Nico said that Garth Lagerwey is looking 3 years down the line. He's trying to figure out, okay, what can we be successful with 3 years from now in addition to this year? So he's taking both lanes of traffic and working them simultaneously. That's the kind of guy that you're getting when it comes to his planning and trying to figure out what he wants the team to look like.
Yeah, there's no rush with it. It's just a matter of long-term, looking at it long-term. Time moves differently in different positions. If you own a team, owning a team is an investment, and we're talking 10, 15-year investment. And look at the valuations of teams throughout history. Players will look at things game to game. Coaches are looking at things game to game, and at the same time, in sections and seasons. Then you have general managers and technical directors who are looking at this as, okay, we have our game plan now, but we need to prep for next season. We need to prep for the season after that. The same thing we talk about in college football all the time with recruiting, that if you slack off for a year, it's going to reverb for 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be looking at it in a grander scale.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see how he approaches it with his first moves. Yeah, I know there's going to be some moves that got to be made that may be popular or unpopular. We'll see.
Yep.
I know we've had the reports about whether or not he's part of the plan going forward. Joseph?
Yeah.
Not sure. We'll see what happens. It's just a lot. It's going to be a lot to unpack. This off season is going to be a lot. We had the leak of the Derek Etienne stuff yesterday, which was that was fun.
Yes, allegedly, probably, possibly, maybe Derek Etienne being a part of Atlanta.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it looks. I don't know, man.
Ricky Ricard,
like I said, you're early. You were still. We talked about this when free agency hit. Like, you're still early in the free agency period. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by Rudiger basically high-stepping down the right side of the field like he was Walter Payton.
Oh, yeah. No, you got 25 to go. Germany's leading Japan by the score of 1-0. So that's
but in a foot race, Rudiger just did that little sweetness high step, and I'm sorry that broke me.
Nothing wrong with being broken on a Wednesday. Ricky Ricardo in this morning.
God.
Ricky says, I don't think I've used the word coup that much in a while, but that's what this was. Ricky is saying that pulling Garth Lagerwey from Seattle was a coup. And I think that
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at Rick.
no, I mean that's absolutely absolutely positively something that should be done. There's nothing like a sweetness high step from a German star, right?
Yeah. In the
Uh-huh.
World Cup, chasing down a ball on the right side, he just high steps and steps in front and shields it off for a goal kick.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, that was amazing.
Yes.
Oh man. Anywho, so we talked about So as I say, we were talking about free agency a couple weeks ago, and I said,
right.
This isn't like the NFL where it's just gonna free agency hits and all the deals start happening. Like there were gonna be some deals. You've had the Etienne stuff that's apparently been leaked. Felipe Martins sounds like it's going to be joining Orlando. I don't know if they've officially announced that yet. Ruins my dream of Heel Team 6, but whatever. My dreams don't matter. But you'll see these deals start to kind of trickle out, and they'll get leaked by guys like Tom Bogert, who's really tapped into all the clubs and the agents and knows what's going on.
Felipe's a 1 year deal. Orlando.
Yeah, I know, but I still wanted him.
I know. So it's officially official.
I still wanted him to fight people.
It's not your people.
I wanted him to fight for me.
Yes.
As opposed to fighting against me.
Yes.
This is the Levon Hernandez philosophy. Levon Hernandez terrorized the Braves for years, even after Eric Gregg gave him the most absurd strike zone in history. But Atlanta eventually signed Levon Hernandez because even when he was like 38 years old and just like pumping fastballs that was all the way through. It was kind of like Bartolo Colon in his career. Like, if he's on my team, he can't hurt me.
Correct.
Except he did hurt you because he was bad.
Yeah, that was not a good pick.
So he just hurt you in a different way.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's a multi-year SEP project with everything here. You've laid some good groundwork. You went and got the guy who was considered to be the best at his job, and you've given him a lot of resources to work with. Now let's see what it looks like in 2 years, 3 years. Man, Goretzka's coming on for Germany.
Yes.
Germany's got 23 to go.
Yes. Absolutely true. So 23 to go, and it's still 1-0. And there are, you're looking at, let's see, you were talking about the other moves that were going on with Houston Dynamo acquired Artur in a trade with Columbus Crew. And the numbers there, Columbus gets up to $350,000 in GAM. So Houston adds Artur to the midfield, $300,000 in general allocation money. They can get an additional $50,000 in performance metrics. Guaranteed funds break down to $200,000 in 23 and $100,000 in 24. So Felipe Martins to Orlando City. His deal was signed. 1 year deal, 5 starts, 28 appearances, 1 goal, 3 assists. So Felipe Martins will now be hurting folks in the Eastern Conference. DC United signed Pedro Santos, and Minnesota United have re-signed goalkeeper Eric Dick through the 23 season with a club option out of contract, projects as a backup to Dane St. Clair. He's been in the MLS since 2018, originally for Sporting Kansas City, picked him up in the Super Draft, played for Columbus. 1 appearance in the last 5 years, featured with MNUFC 2 and Next Pro, and was in the Open Cup round of 16 this past season. So keepers are staying. Artur goes from Columbus to Houston. Felipe Martins to Orlando City. DC United gets Pedro Santos. So that's where we're looking. We are looking at the activity there with Major League Soccer. So, you have all of these things happening in and around and behind, and nothing like trying to get business done and you try to sit there and you hide behind the international tournament that's currently going on overseas, huh? There are no secrets anymore. It can't happen. It's impossible.
It's just exhausting, man. Entire offseason's exhausting because now we threw a World Cup on top of it. Japan's trying to push for an equalizer, but I mean, going route one on Germany, I guess ain't the worst idea. Germany playing a higher line, but I'm sorry. Rudiger high stepping is going to be.
Oh,
I don't know if there's going to be anything in this tournament that's funnier to me than that.
well, and at the same time, the host broadcast network here in the U.S. wasted no time of pulling that 4 seconds worth of high step from primetime Rudiger and posting it to the social media platforms. So that's what you're looking at there. Henry Winter says Harry Kane is fine after the ankle scare. Obviously, that's a boost for England with the game coming up on Friday against the USMNT. Harry Maguire is also listed as being okay. So you've got that happening this morning. Get this. PSG is considering leaving its longtime stadium, Parc des Princes, and potentially moving to the country's national stadium. And they're considering leaving their home stadium and possibly a stake sale as well. Nasser Al-Khelaifi said that Paris deserves a better stadium. And so it appears that at least in the short term, you got Nasser Al-Khelaifi sitting here saying, okay, we're thinking about moving. So you got that there as well. Statement came out from the German national team about what happened this morning, where in the team photo before the match against Germany, they covered their mouths, and two separate statements. We wanted to use our captain's armband to take a stand for values that we hold in the Germany national team: diversity and mutual respect. Together with other nations, we wanted our voice to be heard. It wasn't about making a political statement. Human rights are non-negotiable. That should be taken for granted, but it still isn't the case. That's why this message is so important to us. Denying us the armband is the same as denying us a voice. We stand by our position. So Germany making a stand this morning when it comes to their the armband. To answer your question, I'm sure it's a leverage play, Ricky, when it comes to PSG. But here's what Ben Jacobs says. Khalifi tells business, meaning Bloomberg, they're considering moving to the Stade de France. Paris deserves a better stadium. My first option is we don't move, but the city of Paris is pushing us to move. Khalifi says he has 3 options. One is buying the national stadium. Buying the national stadium. That's their first option. French government are encouraging this. Told the other 2 are new sites close to the Parc des Princes. PSG don't own the Parc des Princes, and although they want to undertake a 500 million euro stadium expansion, creating a capacity of 60,000, they won't do so unless they own the stadium first. Like I said, this is all from Ben Jacobs. City Council of Paris is asking for crazy money, 4 times above market value, even though PSG had it valued using the council's own property evaluator. And the French
God, Japan, Jesus Christmas. Manuel Neuer is 108 years old and still gets down and make good saves.
Because he's Manuel Neuer. And the French government is looking for a buyer of the Stade de France, and PSG are now seriously considering making an offer. And even off a deflection. Manuel Neuer is just written, and they missed the rebound. They skied the rebound. Manuel Neuer is officially ridiculous. Version 7008. French government is looking for a buyer of the Stade de France. PSG are now seriously considering making an offer. 2 other new build sites being explored as well. So it looks like it's, I guess, Ricky, it's a combination. Do you want to spend the 500 million euro on your own on the building that you currently play in to boost it to 60? Or do you want to buy the national stadium, which just sounds weird? It's like, yeah, buy the national stadium, by the way. It's over there. You can buy it if you want. So, yeah. So Paris deserves a better stadium. My first option is we don't move, but the city of Paris is pushing us to move. That's Nasser Al-Khelaifi. 3 options: buying the national stadium, which the French government are encouraging. Okay. So you got that this morning from our friends at PSG. Let's see. What else is going on? It's officially official. Jarrett, Pep Guardiola. The journey continues. This is from Man City. New 2-year deal. So a new 2-year deal officially for yeah. Manuel Neuer once again continues to be ridiculous. So no real shock there. But yeah, Manuel Neuer just insane. And the the Japan side once again, equalizer. There it is. There's your equalizer from Japan. Neuer with the first save, but ready to pounce just outside the 6. 15 minutes to go. Big save by Neuer. Rebound smashed home. 15 to go. Germany and Japan are tied. How's that for your morning, Jarrett?
That's been coming for the last 10 minutes or so. This was that period of the game where Japan had to push for a goal, and they got it. Good work from them.
Where are you getting breakfast, by the way? Are you at Martin's again?
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. I'm at home.
Oh, okay.
I'm being attacked by a 5-year-old, though, as I watch this game.
Okay. So I didn't know. It sounded like someone had your order ready. It sounded like Ivy Board had your order ready for you, and you were supposed to go to the counter and pick up your breakfast. That's what I'm saying. So that's what it sounded like. But okay, so you're at home. All right. Since this is the first, this is our last show before Thanksgiving that we're live. Here's a question for everybody on the Twitch pitch. And let me go ahead and I'll ask it and I'll post it as well. Yeah, not quite. Sean Vergara says that you're pushing Ivy through aisle 7 at Kroger. I don't think that's quite accurate, but nevertheless. I'm gonna ask a question this morning. So the QOD, the question is, and it has to do with what's going on tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in, and I'm going to ask all of you, since it is a Wall Pass Wednesday, what's your Thanksgiving traditions? Yeah, no doubt, Sean, you do have to get the fuel points. But what are your Thanksgiving traditions? What are
watching the episode of KRP?
Well, and that's why I broke out the shirt this morning. That's why I absolutely broke out the shirt this morning. Yeah, the annual turkey drop T-shirt for our friends at WKRP. Yeah, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. So no, I had to break out the KRP turkey drop shirt this morning. And so Thanksgiving traditions. I want to know what your Thanksgiving traditions are. Is it big family? Is it small family? Is there a particular dish that is just specific to your Thanksgiving that is part and parcel to what's going on? Tell me what your Thanksgiving traditions are. Is there a homemade dish that is a part and parcel to your what's the key dish at your Thanksgiving meal? Tradition. Okay, wow. Okay, that's new. That's definitely something. Sean Vergara, tradition for Thanksgiving: get on a plane and go to Puerto Rico. So, are you all right? So, Sean, are you leaving? And you're in Comfort Plus. You missed first class upgrade by 1 seat. So, all right. So now that you've opened this door, Sean, on a Wall Pass Wednesday, is it? How many of you are going? Is it just you? Do you go take your clubs? I imagine you do. So now that you've opened this door, what is this tradition going to Puerto Rico? What does this entail, sir? You have opened this door. The rest of us are curious. We now want to know about traditions. Now, Ricky. Oh, you're in. Oh, wow. You're actually on the plane right now. Okay. I see how this works. All right. So did you take your clubs? Yeah, you got to let us know now. Ricky. American football, mindlessly. Eyes fixed on the Egg Bowl in particular this year. And
I can't imagine why, Ricky.
Yeah, exactly.
Ricky, the resident Auburn fan.
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Egg Bowl.
And so.
Although, my favorite comment I have seen so far was the fact that Arkansas somehow got 2 Auburn coaches fired in 1 year.
Yes.
After what they did Ole Miss.
Yes, that is true. So, all right. So Sean, as we all know, Sean's clubs are in Cargo, and he's visiting a family and eating and drinking. Well, I hope you're just drinking the Bacardi. If you're eating Bacardi, my guess is it's probably somebody who's created the Bacardi sickles and has them ready for you in the freezer. There are certain wines that you can do that with, by the way. You can do the wine sickles and do that as a part of what's going on. But 10 minutes to go. Germany and Japan still tied at 1. And obviously we'll keep an eye on that as we go here for the final 10 minutes. Let's see. Burned. Mario Götze in a World Cup.
That's just a drowning pool set piece. It's just bodies hitting the floor everywhere.
Yes. Götze in a World Cup game, Back to the Future. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? Same as it ever was. All right. Once again, QOD. We're going to have Dylan Butler coming on at the top of the hour, and we'll go through stuff with him. But Jarrett, so far, paella is the dish tradition. Okay. So paella for Sean Vergara is the dish tradition for when he goes down to Puerto Rico. So, Ricky, when it comes to college football down here, that's over on the OSG Sports side of things, by the way. Jared says probably Arkansas an edible arrangement or something. If it was an edible arraignment, that might go a few head coaches back for Arkansas. But I think you're looking for an edible arrangement, Ricky, not an edible arraignment. But you're looking at. I was going to tell you my Thanksgiving tradition. All right, so Thanksgiving tradition at the in my sphere, the boss has this recipe, and it is basically taking a container of white rice, an entire can of beef consomme, and an entire stick of butter. Not just like pieces, but the whole stick of butter. And yeah, it did look like bowling pins, Sean, no question. And it was something that her grandmother created. And literally, you put the consomme in, and it turns the white rice brown. And you may as well just sit there and inject the cholesterol into your veins directly, because it is specifically that, I could have a meal of this whole rice dish. And literally, like I said, white rice, beef consomme, an entire stick of butter, throw it in the bowl, and you make it. And like I said, it's named after her grandmother. And it was one of the first dishes that she cooked for us when she started dating. When she wanted to have the home cooked meal, that was what she wanted to do with everything. It's like, okay, we're dating, and so, I can cook, and so here's this family dish. And so that to me is the one dish that I'm locked into, especially this time of year. Or
whenever. Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah, that's the question, Ivy. That is the question. Yeah, that is the $1 billion question.
They scored a goal.
Yeah. What just happened
cool.
is that with 7 minutes to go, Japan now has the lead on Germany. And we'll walk you through it, and we will let you know what happened. Stern close-up of the German coach. Wow. Japan takes the lead. And so now the Spain-Germany match could have an entirely different set of expectations. Okay. So.
Oh, we're not done here yet. Japan's going to push. Japan is going to be in a very dark. I think he's on, but just barely.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Neuer to the short side. Rudiger's calling offside. But Asano with an impossible window to get that through. There's your shot from behind. No room at the end, and Asano found it, and they're playing on. Okay.
That is reminiscent of Joseph against in the Rev wedding back in 2017.
Short side. I mean, you've got Manuel Neuer first and foremost, who is incredible under normal circumstances, and you beat Manuel Neuer first off of a save that he's made. You smash home the rebound to tie it at 1. Then you go short side, Manuel Neuer with about as much available space as what? You had maybe 6 inches off of Neuer's left shoulder, and you put it in. Asano puts it in that space for his 8th goal in 38 comps for Japan. And now we've got, with 5 minutes to go, corner. Germany was looking for a handball and cleared. So 5 minutes to go. And Japan is just kicking and dumping and getting rid of it. And it's like, all right, up. Are we checking? We're checking. Germany wanted a handball called inside the 18. And so we are checking. They might have to hold off on that national holiday, Sean. So, all right. So here we go. No, I don't think so. So headed up into the air. Second ball, Gutsa. And the contact was square. Nope, nothing there. All right, waved it off. 4 minutes plus added. Can Japan hang on? And burned, yeah. You're not kidding. Burned. It's Germany, though. They're going to score in the 98th minute. They always do. So, but, man, that's all I can say. Beating Manuel Neuer short side, Manuel Neuer, to get the second goal on the board. Asano scoring in the 83rd after Ilkay Gundogan got the lead to Germany for the half at 1-0. Coming into this one, your juice boxes, Germany was a minus 222. Your draw a plus 384. Japan to win was a plus 628. Plus 628. Spain and Costa Rica coming up at 11 o'clock. Belgium and Canada coming up at 2 o'clock. And after our activities today, later today, we'll have the recap show, and we'll get you through some of the highlights and posts from everything that happened today. And we'll probably catch up with our friends from the Fired Up Network and have their reactions to Belgium and Canada posted on their show that they do late afternoon, early evening. So we'll turn that to the network and let you hear the Canadian perspective of things as Canada is back in the World Cup for the first time in 36 years. And so we'll have that as well. So coming up with a little over 2 minutes to go, plus any time added, Japan leading by the score of 2-1. And we'll get you into gossip, rumor, and innuendo before Dylan Butler joins us at the top of the hour. Get you through all of your news that's fit to print. Our national nightmare involving CR37. He's torn between moving to Newcastle, who's already said they're not interested, or Saudi Arabian club Al Nasser after leaving Manchester United by mutual consent. That's from Marsa. Manchester United reportedly saved about £15.5 million in wages after coming to the agreement to Ronaldo to end his contract before it runs out in the summer. Market valuation for Manchester United rose by 17% after the Glazer family said they're considering selling the club. Chelsea set to open talks over Ronaldo as Todd Boehly sees the appeal of signing him on a free, although manager Graham Potter is less than convinced. Chelsea and Newcastle have distanced themselves from Ronaldo. That's from the Telegraph. Inter Miami also understood to be looking elsewhere. Ronaldo's goals during his second spell at Manchester United have cost the club £1.2 million each. That's from the four-letter paper. Take the information at your own risk, but I guess they did math. AFC Crew, and this is, if he took this, this would be awesome. But once again, it's another 4-letter paper, so take it at your own peril. AFC Crew, who play in the 14th tier in the English football pyramid, have offered Ronaldo a club record 35 pounds a week, which would make him the highest paid player at the club. Arsenal are considering a January move for Palmeiras' 21-year-old Brazil forward Danilo. That's from the 3-letter paper, so take the information at your own risk. Newcastle willing to pay Borussia Mönchengladbach £10 million in January to sign 25-year-old France forward Marcus Thuram, whose contract expires next summer. Borussia Dortmund striker Youssoufa Moukoko, 18, is in talks to remain with the club amid interest from United, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Monaco's France midfielder Aurélien Tchouameni says Liverpool made the first move for him, but he was intent on moving to Real Madrid this summer. That's from Le Parisien. Memphis Depay says he's uncertain of his future at Barcelona after having emerged as a target for former club Manchester United in the summer. And a Barcelona advisor has hit back at a suggestion for Manchester United target Frenkie de Jong that the club's board leaked the contract details for the Netherlands midfielder last summer. So you've got that kind of early information there. Emilio. So again, every team gives their fans a glimmer of happiness, whether it's Saudi Arabia, maybe Japan, etc. The U.S. gives its fans no such glimmer of joy. Let's debate 3GB as prime fodder. It's all there is. Probably Friday, we'll be debating 3GB, and then again on Monday as we get ready for Black Friday with the U.S. and England. We'll definitely be discussing that, and I know that Bart Keeler will use his golden ticket to come in at any opportunity to discuss such things. Burned. Taking off Musiala and Mueller was a mistake in hindsight. Now you need their creativity. Sean Vergara, who is in 20D on the plane. Ronaldo's going to the LAG. Just watch. Yep. Okay, here we go. Now you're starting 7 minutes. 7 added minutes. Oh, man, and you're only a minute and a half in. Okay.
Japan is an honorary CONCACAF nation, so this will be very fun.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's what I'm saying. According to Tommy Scoops, sources tell him St. Louis City have signed free agent defender Jake Nerwinski. 141 appearances in 6 MLS seasons with the Vancouver Whitecaps. So City SC may be adding Jake Nerwinski as a part of their roster. But Ronaldo to LAG, they would have to find a way, Sean, to figure out how to make things work financially. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Perhaps get some clues from the guys down the freeway or up the freeway, because Carson to downtown is up the 5. So find out how they did it, figure out how you can do it. So not necessarily a surprise. Let's check the other local papers before we go. And I know that, Jarrett, you've got a couple of minutes. So I wanted to get your thoughts on CR37 being let go by Manchester United before we go. And Manchester United possibly, maybe up for sale. The whole CR37 stuff while we've got 4.5 minutes to go as Germany chases an equalizer.
I mean, my answer on this is pretty simple. It's that I don't give a damn. I don't really care about him. I don't really care about Manchester United in the grand scheme of things. Most of the issue here being is Germany is looking for a penalty.
In the ear.
I don't really care about Aldo, man. I mean, this is the thing that happens with older players sometimes, is that they get, let's see, is this a penalty? Ooh, I mean, if anything, that's shoulder to shoulder. They're both going for the ball.
Yeah, that's shoulder to shoulder.
I don't blame Germany for trying to fish.
Play it on.
Yeah, I don't blame them for fishing for that penalty, but there's nothing there. But this is the thing that happens with older players. They get older, and they age to the point, we've talked about this before, the older you get, the sheerness of the cliff upon which you will eventually drop becomes more and more sheer. Yep. When you're younger, a lot of times it's more of a graceful descent. When you're performing at a high level, though, and you just keep performing at a high level, that drop-off is going to happen a lot faster. See Brady, Tom.
Yes.
See Manning, Peyton, although his was also injury-related.
Yes.
But, yeah, this whole thing is just, you've got an older player who is a legacy player in the sport who can't do it anymore. and his antics are not justified by his production at this point of his career. So, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Like that's it. Bye. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
I don't want to keep. I'm not keeping somebody around like that who is going to go on Piers Morgan's show and trash the organization, trash the coaches. Like the Ronaldo show is strictly about Ronaldo.
Yes, absolutely.
Full stop, beginning, middle, end, and I don't. And I do not care about. Oh my! Oh, Germany's trying. I do not care about him at this point. Like, it's done. He's done. Like, I mean, maybe he goes somewhere and he's able to throw together a little bit of magic for a bit, but I wouldn't want to deal with him. I wouldn't want to deal with the attitude and with the nonsense that comes with Cristiano Ronaldo. But yeah, because seriously, when you're an older player, man, you're gonna age out of it. How you do it is up to you, and he has chosen the path of being a dickbag to everybody, basically.
Yeah.
And it's tolerable when you're putting together performances where you can single-handedly win your team a game. Oh my God, Japan! Well, good thing Manuel Neuer is Manuel Neuer. Man is suicidal, and I love it. But it's one thing when a guy can justify it, but eventually you don't justify it anymore, and you're nothing but a sad tabloid back page story. So congratulations, Cristiano Ronaldo. That's what you've become. You become a sad back page tabloid story. The next stage of your career is really up to you based on the offers you have. I don't expect anything of significance out of you.
Yep.
And yes, Ricky, Japan is an honorary CONCACAF nation. I'm hoping to see a little more CONCACAF out of them in the last 60 seconds here. Somebody should go down, call the stretcher out, kick the ball into row H.
Yes. So Ricky for CR37 to wander over. Would Chicharito get sold? Because otherwise it ain't happening. The news is where he goes next. Absolutely. And to answer Sean Vergara's question, your center F is Ivan Barton from El Salvador. So yes, we have seen him.
So he's well versed in CONCACAF anyway.
Yes, he is. So we know Ivan Barton. We know Ivan Barton from all of his time in CONCACAF. Burned as he's watching the last couple of minutes here. German fullbacks not really the right ones to hit good crosses. Suele is a center back, but Flick went with the tall target. Fulkrug and Goretzka for an aerial attack. Not sure that was the right strategy. So we have a set piece on the north end of 7.
This feels like it.
Oh, goodness. And there you go. 2 players going down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2 players CONCACAFing your way through as Nicholas Sula just missed.
Just lay there for a while.
If
there's a stretcher, have it come out. If there's a stretcher, have them bring it out.
Neuer was just missing being a part of the party, too. All right, so we're north of the 7. Neuer staying up. Yet another corner.
So it's a little thing, but I love these setups of these stadiums where they have that much space between the bench and the field where the players can get 15 yards off the bench and have a full party.
Yep. All right, so we're now on we're north of +8 on the clock. North of +8. That's it. Japan gets the Duke. Japan.
And with that, I'll leave you.
There you go. So have fun with Ivy. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you. We'll see you on Friday morning.
We'll see.
All right. Yes, exactly. We'll see. So Japan at a +628 gets the win over Germany, a -222 on the board. So Germany loses their first group match, and so that means in the group of Group E, Japan leads the group with 3 points. Germany, goal difference of -1. And Spain and Costa Rica are coming up around the corner. That one is the next one on the board at 11 o'clock. We'll let you watch that one in its entirety. Your juice boxes once again. Minus 588 for Spain. Draws a plus 691. Costa Rica is a plus 1785 with Keylor Navas in net. So we'll keep that in mind. 2 o'clock, Belgium and Canada. Belgium is a minus 179. Your draws a plus 332. And Canada is a plus 505. So that's what you're looking at right now with the 2 matches left on the board for today. But your early work, yes, you are not wrong, Tom. You are officially not wrong. As you are on the road to Charleston, yes, the World Cup is officially drunk. I don't know if we've officially hit drunge yet, but we're close. Seconded by Sean, by the way. When do you take off? If you're sitting on the tarmac for a long time, Sean, if you're on your way to the PR with the clubs, but yeah, so the World Cup, man. So let's see. Looking at standings once again to where we are. Netherlands and Ecuador winning in Group A out of the blocks with their first 2. Senegal and Qatar lost their first match in Group A. We know what's going on in Group B with England, the USA, Wales, and Iran. Everybody's going to be beating up on Iran to try to figure out who's going to be second in the group and try to mitigate your damage against the England side. Group C, Saudi Arabia with their big win over Argentina. They are at top of the group. Poland and Mexico, goalless draw. Lewandowski penalty saved by Memo Ochoa, who, by the way, I think M-Flight Wi-Fi, excellent. I didn't know that if you were going or if you were just staying on the tarmac and what have you. So it is that time, since it is 10:02. There's Dylan Butler coming in right after the end of Germany and Japan.
Yeah,
man's timing is impeccable. And we've got folks who are mentioning already on the show this morning here that the competition that is going on overseas is officially drunk. What say you,
sir? Can it be? There's no beer sales.
Absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
But no, it's been great, right? Like, it's all about the upsets. You've had some good, other matches as well, obviously, but you need a few of these big upsets to really to send those shockwaves, right? And to get that MLS after dark feel a little bit, right? So and perhaps with the 30 minutes of stoppage time for each match, it is a little bit MLS after dark, right? So
oh my God, does that not drive you crazy? I mean, the mandate, though, the mandate from FIFA, they said that they said specifically that we want our center refs to take care of the time that needs to be added and all those kinds of things. They want them to take care of that. But all right, so since you've gone there, let's go back. Head injury in one of the matches in the Iran match.
Yeah.
And you have the first analysis by the Iranian doctors and physios, which took forever. I think I actually got to go upstairs, make breakfast, come back down, and be ready as they were trying to analyze things. Then you have the club captain for Iran take his water bottle, squirt it in his goalie's face. I mean, literally, it was like one of those super soaker deals. He just kind of takes the water bottle and goes doink and sprays the keeper in the face, trying to get him to snap out of whatever he was in. And he's deemed to be okay. Then he hits one outlet pass, I think like a 45-degree angle, and it got to the center line. And then coming back the other way, you end up with a mad rush, and it ends up being an opportunity that didn't score a goal. But then 5 minutes later, keeper goes back down, and he's done. 14 minutes of added time in the first half because of this incident alone that I don't think should have happened in the first place. It should not have gotten as far as it did.
No, of course it shouldn't have. You wish that the medical personnel that you trust in these situations, make the right call, make the right decision immediately, right? Like, don't leave it up to the goalkeeper. And can you imagine if he didn't decide to take himself out, right? Like, how much worse could that situation have been? So, I feel like a World Cup kind of a situation kind of shows you the range a little bit in terms of where we are with concussion protocol, where other nations are, lagging. I guess, right? So you wish it was a universal thing, especially at a World Cup. Clearly, it's not though. So that was certainly disappointing. But also, other stoppages too have been strange, right? Like you get the mandate that if there's a head injury, you stop.
Yeah.
But even in the U.S. Wales match, how many times did we see a leg injury and then a stoppage? Like, it didn't really make any sense, right? Like or an alleged injury, right? Like, so you play on just like it happens here, and even in CONCACAF. And who would have thunk you'd have been like, man, CONCACAF is all right, compared to what we've been doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
But those are also weird, right? Like, I don't get those. Like, play on, wait. If your guy is hurt and you want to play the ball out, then fair play to you. But that shouldn't be an official's decision unless it's a head injury.
Yeah. So we've had that already so far in this tournament, and you're screaming at the television, going, yo, dude, let him go. But I don't know. To your point, it's like those of us who are used to seeing head injuries and treatments and such, and the care that's supposed to be given to these athletes in this case. 24 minutes of stoppage time in England and Iran because of substitutions, injuries, 10 minutes in the second half, 14 mostly attributed to the injury to the starting keeper for Iran in the first half. When it comes to everything else that we've seen so far, it was described that Saudi Arabia's win over Argentina in March Madness parlance was a 1 versus a 16. Was it that, or was it even deeper than that? What was it? Was it Appalachian State beating Michigan? Was it of an FCS?
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have Argentina winning it.
Okay,
but I did have them. Like, I think I had them losing to Brazil, like, in whatever round that is. Like,
that would be semis. Yeah, I have Argentina winning because I want Lionel Messi going out on top. But I think it would be a semi if it's Argentina Brazil.
Yeah, so I had Brazil beating them, but still, I had them going far. Not that they certainly can't now, but yeah, I mean, I think we probably do need to put a little respect on the mid-major that is, or the minnow that is Saudi Arabia, right? Like the NEC team or whatever.
There you go.
The MIAC.
The Ryder Broncos.
The MAC.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and you know what? What is funny? Like, you see these two results now, back-to-back days where Argentina and Germany go down, and suddenly, like, Greg Berhalter's like in his hotel, like, I told all you guys, those results in the tournament lead up weren't so bad, were they? Between Saudi Arabia and Japan, like, Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it's judged a little bit on what happens going forward, right? Does Saudi Arabia get a result in their next match? Do they find a way to get through? What does Argentina do? Like, I feel like these results, the true question about these two teams, I think, gets answered as we continue on in the group stage.
Yeah. So with what happened with the USA and Wales, what were some of your takeaways with that particular game?
Yeah. I had the rare occasion to be an observer, like a watcher. I actually went to into Queens, back in the Queens. Went to Woodside, to like an Irish pub, Sean Oggs. With my buddy Jack, and it was funny because they had, like, one of those what did we say during the season? The the rivalry week sponsor.
Yes.
So they were having a little like thing there, with scarves. And would you like some of our
Red Star beer-based scarves?
I said no, sir, no,
Yeah!
sir. I'm going American. I had a little Sam, some Sam. What did I have? I had the Wicked Ale.
Okay.
I went with a burger. Like I had to go all American, baby. Like I wasn't. We weren't going anything other than American there. But yeah, no. So I think my takes are probably very similar to everybody else's. Like first half, on the ball and pushing forward on the front foot, excited about that. Disappointed in set pieces and the deliveries that Pulisic had there. The first one, I think it was a free kick, and then like he doesn't get it past the first defender. Then it was a corner. He doesn't get it past the first post. Goal happens. Great goal, fantastic moment. And then I remembered saying to my buddy Jack, I said, if they could just get one more before the half, like before Wales could regroup, they'll be in really good shape. And they just lack that decisiveness, right? Like that killer maybe instinct a little bit to go after that second goal. And obviously, look, the tactical change that Wales makes, they are in the front foot in the second half, and all of a sudden, it's one-way traffic the other way. So disappointed in the result, but ironically, I think probably pre-tournament you're not so upset, right? Because you're maybe thinking if you get a draw against Wales, maybe you can get a draw against England, and then you get the win against Iran.
5 points in your through.
Probably get through.
Yeah.
But obviously 1-0 the way that it was, you need to get that win. I was disappointed in Zimmerman, certainly with that challenge, but when you look at the analysis afterwards, you're like, it was just a really crafty play by Bale, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got to give him that credit. And
John Thorrington knew what he was doing.
And my first, literally, the instant reaction to his PK was when I saw Turner dive. I thought he got a piece. I mean, he did.
Yeah, he did. You heard
I thought he saved it. So I was like, yeah. Oh, so yeah, thoroughly disappointed to come away with that. I was saying at that moment, really throughout the second half, I was telling to go back. I liked the 11. Okay. I liked Ream there, especially with his connection with Jedi Robinson. I didn't have any issues anywhere else either. I liked Sargent up there, even though he really didn't do much, right? I liked him, having, with Wales, so many of their players playing, Premier League and Championship, and he has that experience as well. So I like that in the first match, and where there were likely to be more combative duels, right? But then it was the substitutes, right? Like I was saying, Aronson should have come on, and he did. And I said, obviously, Reina should have come on. I thought for Weah at the time, just again as a guy who can give you that killer, because we knew that Wales was pressing forward. So now you can hit him in the counter, and Gio's so dangerous in that sense. So, I had a very long ride back to Long Island.
Yes.
With the time of the game, unfortunately. So it was like, an hour coming in and about an hour 45 going home. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time to digest the result, and you listen to Sirius XM and the callers, and you're hearing the explanations about Gio. So maybe some tightness, or I will give Berhalter the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah. He's not just going to go to Morris. Look, clearly Reina is a better option, right? Like when healthy. So
yes, when healthy.
So yeah, those are kind of like my wide ranging thoughts on the on the draw.
All right. So then on Friday,
Yep.
then I've heard that there's this match against this England team.
Yeah.
What are you looking at in this one? Obviously, folks are sitting there saying, okay, if Gio wasn't able to go in the first one, hopefully you're saving him for the final two, where he starts and gives you 90 against England, 90 against Iran, because you're probably going to need it against Iran, considering that Iran is the rock that every wave bashes itself up against in this group. That whoever scores the most and gets your most goal difference and probably mitigate your damage against England is going to be your number two. What do you think about the the colonists going up against the monarchy on Friday?
Yeah, and the day right after Thanksgiving, right? When the pilgrims and that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's look, it was always going to be a tall task, and then you kind of see England do what they do in the first match, like oh-ish, right? Like
yeah, it was an oh-ish moment, definitely.
This is going to be even harder than maybe we thought it would be. And it's funny because you start to rationalize. Well, maybe they'll rotate. Okay, well, who are they going to rotate in then, right? Like other Premier League fantastic players, right? So, it's not like you're getting you're losing Harry Kane and you're getting like Gillingham's best striker. So, Scunthorpe United's best midfielder isn't on this squad either. So
up the iron, sir. Exactly.
So yeah, it's going to be difficult. You would like them to now I'll say this. It feels like when the US is underdog,
right,
whatever the situation is, I mean, Gold Cup final, Nations League final, like these are situations where Mexico, right, they were the favorites, clearly, right, because it was their first choice, right, largely in those matches, and it was like rotated different squads in those. I feel like when US at Mexico at the Azteca in World Cup qualifying, like they seem, knock on wood, to show up in those situations.
Right.
So you hope that's the case here as well. I would like to see Aronson start the match. I gotta think McKennie has to be on some sort of a minutes combination limit, right? Like in the first two matches, like he could play 120. So maybe it's 25 minutes. Last 25 minutes he comes on possibly, but I think this is a match for Aronson for sure. If for no other reason, you've got that combination with Adams in the midfield, very much like you had with Riemann, Jedi Robinson in the back. He's played against these guys before, and I think he's going to be that guy to push the pace. What I love about Aronson is he does not care.
No,
like, he's going at you. He doesn't care who it is, and that's that mentality that I think you want. I think a Gio Reyna brings that same mentality. So if he's healthy, I want to see him in there as well. You could spell him with Weah again for the last 30 minutes. Possibly, right? You combine their minutes a little bit. And then in the midfield, like I'm not sure, right? Like I thought Adams was fantastic, right? Probably the man of the match for me. I thought Musa and McKennie were below maybe what we thought they would be in a match like that, right? So I've got no problem subbing in Aronson for McKennie. I'm not sure if there's a better option for Musa. Like obviously Kellen Acosta came in and delivers the foul of the tournament.
Oh yeah, you ain't kidding, brother.
But yeah, I would say certainly for me at least those are two changes I would make.
Best foul ever for Kellen. because Gareth Bale was getting ready to hit the launch codes on that one.
Yeah.
There was something else that was incredibly insightful. Since it is a Wall Pass Wednesday,
Yes.
Emilio was born in Woodside. He wants to know if Shelley's is still open.
Yeah, I think I know where that is, and I want to say no.
Okay.
This is going to be like probably just for me and Amelia. I don't know how many others are watching this are going to get this, right? But like,
it's Long Island down here.
So Cuckoo's Nest was my go-to place, man. That place was amazing. Great food, great atmosphere. I was there for a few different World Cups. My wife and I, we actually had our rehearsal dinner there. So very close to our hearts. They're gone. There was like some sort of like strange cocktail bar there. They weren't even open. Then my second option would have been another Irish pub called Saints and Sinners. That recently closed as well. So I was like on my third choice center back type of thing. It was fine. It was good. Like, it was better. I've been in Oggs before. Now I'll say this: I've not seen. I think it was the second World Cup match I've seen there that the U.S. played, and I've not seen them win. I think I saw them lose to Ghana there. I think that wasn't the group stage loss. That was the knockout stage loss. So I've not seen a win there yet, but it worked out. Like it was a good spot. But yeah, no, there's a lot of changes going on around Woodside. So it's unfortunate to see those two pubs close its doors.
Okay, so I use that kind of as a transitional element.
Okay.
Because, Ricky, what's the commentary around the league to the Garth Lagerwey news? Garth Lagerwey leaving Seattle, coming to Atlanta as president and CEO. What have you heard? What's the vibe, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if it's a big shocker, right? Because we heard this even I would say in the final quarter of the season, right? That was going around. That was a possibility that was talked about. I think as soon as Eels left, there was that talk of Lagerwey, right? So, not surprised in that sense, and I think it's a fantastic move by Atlanta, right? Like, this is a guy. Now, again, he doesn't do it on his own, right? And he's smart enough. He's not taking credit for the successes that he's been a part of, but he's been very good about having a solid team around him.
Mm-hmm.
And he built that first, or really the only, I guess you'd say, juggernaut out of Real Salt Lake, right? The team that went to the Champions League final, and then obviously look what he's done with Seattle, right? As well. So I think there's few in the league in his position who know the league better than he does. He's obviously got a penchant for winning, and he also obviously has worked with Pineda in the past, so there's already a synergy there. So for Atlanta, I love it. I think it's a no-brainer for them. I guess the only question was whether or not he would leave Seattle and that comfort zone. But at the same point, I'd imagine, right? Like, he said, and he set out, and it was around this time, probably last year, we're going for the Champions League. Fine, we're going. Our aspirations are to win the Champions League, right? And it wasn't just words. Like, he made sure he set that into motion. So to be able to deliver that, and again, it's a guy who just failed on that at Salt Lake when they had a lead going into the second leg going into back when it was Rio Tinto. So I think he's probably feeling I've accomplished everything I could accomplish at Seattle, right? I've won MLS Cups. We won the Champions League. And now it's an opportunity to go to another one of the league's biggest clubs, right? Who there's a lot of similarities between Seattle and Atlanta. Not just obviously in the stadiums that they play and the connections with the NFL teams, but also in their willingness to spend and their fan bases as well. So I think it's going to be a similar situation for him as he heads southeast.
And at the same time, it's a situation where, and Seattle is a different animal. We know this. They have the general meeting with everyone who has a vote, and you can vote on a yearly basis, I believe, as to whether or not you can renew contracts for certain individuals. So yes, he was renewed. No, there wasn't a quorum, but he got 90% of those that were there. And so, yes, that's great, but you don't have the same kind of review process. You have more freedom. You have a contract. You have a set number of years. You have more power as president and CEO, and you don't have that yearly renewal process where, you could sit there and think that you did well, but if the vote doesn't come your way from those who are in voting power in Seattle, then you're out of a job. You get to leave that to the side and come to a place where, once again, you can create something and build the way that you want to build it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah. And in that sense, it's the most unique setup in the league, right? Seattle for that. So it's funny too, because it comes right on the heels of him gaining that confidence, right, and winning that vote. So as he should have been. So yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic move by Atlanta. It's I think it's needed for sure.
All right. So in the time that you have left, viewing habits today, obviously we have a couple of other matches. Are you the kind of guy that'll get up at 5 a.m. to watch a match?
I was at one point. With a kid and getting ready for school, and then like it's work. It's gotten a lot harder. So I was. Funny story for you. Back in the day, so the U.S. Mexico knockout round match, right? So in my earlier life, I was a newspaper reporter for like a chain of. I started out at a chain of weekly papers in Queens, of course, right? Where else? And every 4 years it would be, because it is the world's borough, go to different places and experience the World Cup with that fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether it was the Argentines at like the Boca Juniors bar, or the Germans, whatever it was. So, in that situation, and that was, I want to say, like one of those 4:30 matches or 2:30 matches. Like definitely was the middle of the night in Korea. I watched the match with Carlos Llamosa's family.
Okay.
So Carlos Llamosa, was a Queens guy. He obviously played. He had that connection, and it was funny. It was a Spanish broadcast. Like everyone was speaking Spanish. I was in Corona, right? Like in their apartment. Certainly appreciate them welcoming me in there. But it was definitely a unique experience. That's for sure. So.
All right. So last question for you, since it is, coming up on a particular holiday tomorrow. Question of the day here on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Thanksgiving traditions. What is Thanksgiving like at the Butler household? Is there a dish that is indigenous to the Butler celebration that is not necessarily found in other places? What is Thanksgiving like for the Butler clan?
We're kind of boring. Nothing. I don't think there's anything particularly different, to be honest. When I was living, like my mom would always she would always do like the Irish breakfast to start the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that early, and then you then you take a nap from that, right? Like you're tired from all that, and then and then the turkey and everything else comes after that. So I can't. I wish I could offer more in terms of like a unique dish or a special dish. It's your usual, like it's your turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing and the rolls and all that. So
Okay. Well, if you would please, sir, enjoy your Thanksgiving and have a good holiday, and enjoy the match of the Colonials and the Monarchy on Friday. And we will catch up with you again this time next week. Dylan, as always, thanks for coming on with us every single week where there is strangely something going on in the world that's not just the international competition. Thanks for hanging out with us and having.
I will say, John, sorry, just to cut you off, because this was pretty cool. I want folks to check this out if they get an opportunity.
Yes, please plug. Yes,
it should be later today, I think, but I was able to catch up with a couple of the players from the 2010 team that played England in that famous 1-1 draw. So spoke with Benny Feilhaber, and I spoke with Ricardo Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some cool quotes in there from Clint Dempsey and Rob Green as well. Just again, going back to that moment and that day and that build up to it. So that'll be on MLSsoccer.com, I think, later on today. I think when I finished writing it, like at 12:30 last night, it was somewhere near 1,500 words. So, but I think it was a fun write, and I hope that it's an entertaining read. So,
cool. All right.
Following you up as well. Certainly happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. And to all the viewers and listeners as well.
All right. So update me really quick. Where are you in high school?
Football season is largely done.
Okay.
So had our championship triple header on Saturday. So that was from like 10:30 a.m. until about 8 o'clock straight, pretty much on air. So we go now to prepping for basketball, which is a lot easier to prepare for because there's only 5 guys on the court as opposed to 22 on the field. So I do have I think next Wednesday, like their Senior Bowl, like their All-Star type of game. So I do have at least one more football game to go, but yeah, we're heading inside, coming up soon for some hoops.
Transitioning to the winter sports, as always, Dylan_Butler on the Twitters. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please enjoy your holiday. Go to MLSsoccer.com. Read his stuff, OSDB Sports as well. Dylan, get out of here. Enjoy your family.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Right. Dylan Butler. He's going to go spend his holiday with family and things, and we hope that you guys do that as well. Burned, wrapping things up before we go. Burned. Build headline, debacle start for Germany, bankruptcy against Japan, worst flashback to 2018. I'm not surprised. Emilio, every union match, we're talking about stoppage time. Emilio, every union match gets 10 minutes stoppage time total. It can increase it from if there are injuries. It's reasonable. It's reasonable, people. Yes, I would just want, and we were talking about it in the Twitch pitch. What I would like is for the time to be added on fairly. If it's legit, I'm cool with it. That's the only thing. If it just legit add on your time, don't go the other way. And if you've got substitutions, injuries, and everything, don't short it. That's my only request, is that if you have a legit X number of minutes, make it that number of minutes for legitimate reasons, but don't cut it off. Don't sit there and it's like, okay, don't add time, don't add the time back on. If you don't add the time back on and you cut it off, I don't want that kind of stuff. If it's a fair distribution of substitutions and injuries and things like that, I'm cool with it. But the 14 minutes we were talking about, legitimately, it had to do with a head injury and the implementation of that. And so it was just, I thought it was poorly executed by Iran. It was disappointing. And the keeper didn't need to be in after the first contact. And so I think that anybody that wanted to raise hell about it should have. And I hope that they did. Will, this was what we were talking about in the Twitch pitch. Wants it to be a rule, however long you're down is how long you must stay off the pitch once restart happens. You want to, I just want the time added back. I don't necessarily think that you should be down a man for 45 seconds or, because take the Iranian situation where it's the keeper and, do you play without a keeper for X number of minutes? I think that it's just add the time back on. Just add the time that you're down instead of playing a man short. let's see. Second in Group B looks pretty good right now. Let me get into Group B here real quick. Second in Group B. Because you're looking at the winner of Group A, and you're looking at probably what? Netherlands or Ecuador. And so we'll see what happens with that one. Yeah, winner of Group A looks beatable, as does the winner of Argentina's group, as long as it's not nuclear Argentina. Poland didn't look all that great, but of course, when you have Memo Ochoa between the sticks, anything's possible. Can Saudi Arabia hang on? I think that's the big question out of Group C. You just sit there and get draws for the remainder of your matches, you advance. Let's see. Getting Argentina second in their group could create Argentina-Brazil final, which wouldn't suck. I would dig that. We got into the stuff with the U.S. men's national team. Will wants 90 minutes of Gio against Iran. He's the best lock picker. And I think that was the other thing, too, is I didn't think that Gio Reyna, because of his injury, could give you 270. Give me 180 and maybe 20 or 30 in the third match. But if he thought he was 80%, which Gio thinks he's 100%, which means it's 180%, I want him to be as good as he can be for England and for Iran, the two matches we have left. Scuff Pod, they think Gio's like at 80, which means Gio thinks he's at 100. 3GB's worried about him getting hurt worse. Definitely. I think that's part of it, too. Our Lord and Savior, Keylor Navas. The numbers on that one, once again, for Costa Rica to win, actually, Costa Rica is now almost close to plus 1,800. The draw's a plus 700, and Spain is at a minus 625. So keep an eye on that going forward. Sean, you're glad they're adding tons of time back, fair for both sides. I don't know if it would discourage flopping or not. I think that you have teams that are just kind of locked into their own mindsets, especially here in CONCACAF. You're sitting there going, I don't know if it would discourage flopping or not. You just keep adding the time. Just keep adding the time. And I know that it annoys me no end that someone can just waste 5 minutes down, then walk back on 5 seconds after a restart. But if you add the time that he's down, you kind of penalize, because if the conditioning is there, then, or if you're gassed, then you keep adding the time on and you're having to defend while you're gassed. And so I think that that's part of it. Sean's thinking Spain 2-0 with a question mark. Probably. I don't think Costa Rica is going to get blown out. Wouldn't surprise me. Once again, Keylor Navas makes a boatload of saves. Wouldn't surprise me if it was 1-0, 2-0, something like that. Wrapping up news before we go, because I know that you guys have stuff that you want to do. You want to watch the game at 11 o'clock. Glazer family, we mentioned it briefly, open to selling Manchester United, willing to listen to offers. And it looks like the club is valued around £5 billion, expected to be purchased by U.S. investors. Manchester United statement confirms plans. No, Sean, we are not. We are not going to that country. They are not getting any of our dollars. Manchester United statement confirmed plans to identify strategic alternative, and said the process will consider a number of options, quote, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions involving the company. So we'll keep an eye on that. See if anybody wants to drop 5 double extra large and pick up Manchester United. Pep Guardiola is officially official with 2 more years. Let's see. Transfer Center, anything going on there with our friends from Sky? Celtic reached an agreement to sign a Japanese defender, Kobayashi, from Vissel Kobe. 22, signed a 5-year deal, can train with the club from December 1st, eligible to play competitive football once the registration window opens in January. So once again, Ange Postecoglou continues to bring in players from Japan. It's going to be really interesting. Shamrock Rovers in the lower divisions defender Andy Lyons completed the formalities of his move to Blackpool in the championship. Let's see. Let's go to the papers really quickly in that part of the world. In England, once again, we're avoiding the 3 and the 4 letter papers. Let's see. Daily Mirror. Bukayo Saka set to treble his wages, become one of Arsenal's highest earners. Jude Bellingham revealed he was so excited after his World Cup debut he couldn't sleep. Belgium star Jan Vertonghen believes players are scared to speak out about issues surrounding the World Cup because they're being controlled. Garrett Southgate is still being cautious over COVID, and even though he wants to arrange a get-together for players and their loved ones, who will first study the data and infection rates, avoiding the three-letter paper. Daily Express, Rio Ferdinand has claimed Manchester United boss Eric Ten Hag has got what he wanted, end quote, after the Red Devils confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo's departure from the club. Argentine media have laid into Lionel Messi and head coach Lionel Scaloni after their World Cup defeat against Saudi Arabia. And once again, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe's already ruled out a move for Cristiano Ronaldo. So CR37 is not going to Newcastle. Sorry, Alex. Avoiding the four-letter paper. England claim from the Times, England claim they're being targeted by referees at the World Cup and will seek, quote, clarity from FIFA over what they believe are inconsistencies in the new application of rules over grappling at set pieces. Celtic star Kyogo Furuhashi has praised his clubmates for their support, helping him get over the shock and disappointment at his World Cup snub. Daily Telegraph, CR37's exit means the wage bill slashed by more than 10% and frees up money for Manchester United in the January window. Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice center the bidding wars between Real Madrid, Liverpool, Man U, Chelsea, Man City. Bournemouth also close to appointing Gary O'Neill as their permanent manager once again after talks stalled with Marcelo Bielsa. Independent, a football fan lost more than $160,000 after placing a seemingly safe bet on Argentina beating Saudi Arabia. Daily Record, Ange Postecoglou sparked Celtic transfer excitement after revealing a couple of signings lined up. We talked about Kobayashi just a second ago. Ralph Hasenhüttl is not in the running to become the next Rangers manager. Michael Beale's path becomes a bit clearer. Hibs star Chris Cadden has likened the return of striker Kevin Nisbet from his injury hell to a new signing, with the Scotland star set to play in a green and white shirt for the first time in 9 months at the weekend. And Dave King has warned there must be a change in Rangers boardroom or the club will stagnate for years to come. Rangers first team coach Dr. Siri Bowley deleted tweets from his social media account after calling Gio van Bronckhorst a, quote, victim of his own success. So that's your roundup of the papers in England. Let's see. Will goes 1-0, Costa Rica. Navas goes super Kaler. Counter goes in. Okay, I could buy that. Sean, Ronaldo's now like Chad Ochocinco, talented Hall of Famer, but an absolute distraction and drama queen. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the names that you could sit there and look at. And then also, Sean, do we know if any of the nonsense yellows we got in the first U.S. game are going to be appealed? I haven't heard anything, especially those first two yellows in the first 15 minutes. But once again, you've got to keep an eye on that as well on Friday because of the inability to be available for the matchup against Iran. So does that go into your play? Does that go into your thought pattern for trying to figure out, okay, who can I afford to sit there and not play against Iran in an imperfect world if they get another yellow? So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, so that's what we're hunting for. That'll do it for today. Once again, thanks to all of you. Thanks to Dylan Butler. Thanks to all of you for being a part of this. And this is where I give thanks. Yes, Harry Kane. Yeah, Harry Kane is training with the rest of England. He's okay. Harry Maguire is listed as okay as well, Sean. Will. This is where those of us here at SDH get to sit here and say, give thanks to all of you guys. We couldn't do it without you. Bottom line. And the fact that you guys keep coming back every single day to either be with us live or listen to us when it comes to the shows that we have, the interviews that we do on the network, and everything that we do, because we've always thought of ourselves as soccer's morning show. But at the same time, we're more than that. And being a part of the growth of the game and the community and helping build it and inform and entertain and interact and all those kinds of things. Just wanted to, from all of us to all of you, give our thanks and hope that tomorrow and this weekend is what you want it to be. If it's meant to be celebrated boisterously, let it be. If it's meant to be celebrated quietly, let it be that way. And may it be the absolute maximum celebration that you want for it to be. Like I said, we have games that we talk about on a daily basis, but at the end of the day, it's all about family. And it's the family that is with us on a daily basis and the family that we've picked up along the way. And I guess I kind of picked that up from Jeremy Swift from Ted Lasso there for a little bit. But it's about the it's not necessarily the blood family, but it's the family that is there with you and for you as we go. So just wanted to say thanks to all of you for hanging out with all of us. And year 6. We're coming up on year 7 in a couple of months. So year 6 of the network has been an adventure on a bunch of different fronts, but obviously we'll have tape content tomorrow, and we will be back at it with the morning show on Friday. I think Poppy Miller is going to join us then. Busiest woman in show business over at CBS and Paramount Plus. Poppy Miller, 10 o'clock on Friday morning, and we will catch up with you guys and what you guys thought and get you ready for we'll get you ready for England and the United States. And remember, we also have what's going on at Wild Heaven on Friday afternoon as well. We'll post that to the network, I think, if we remember to record it. But yeah, last thing from Sean before he gets home safely, and may you hit fairways and greens the entire time you're there. Yeah, 2 yellows being a suspension for games you wait 4 years to play is ridiculous. True. Once again, thanks again to all of you guys. Thanks again for all that you are as we continue to go forward. So we'll be back at it with tape content tomorrow, back live on Friday, and just hang out with us as best you do and as often as you do. Couldn't do it without you. So for all of us here at SDH, for Jason, for Jarrett, for Nick, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your Thanksgiving day. Be safe so we can all be back at it again on Friday. And since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Mucha platial, and play it safe. We'll see you live on Friday, tape tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving.